the murder spree that I decided to talk about was that done by Ted Bundy. The Ted Bundy murder started around 1970 and ended until around the year of his death, which was in 1989. His cause of death was execution for the murders that he had caused. He is thought to have killed 36 women. He is connected to 36 murders, but thought to have killed over 100. Now, for some background on Ted Bundy, he was born on November 24th in 1946, and at the age of 3 he became fascinated with knives, so that was his first like real scares, like his first weird things that could have led to him end up being a serial killer. But when he was born, he was born obviously by his mother in his house, and then his grandparents adopted him and raised him as their own, and then the mother still lived with them, and he grew up thinking that his mother was actually his sister. And then he was very, very smart. He went to college and he was an honor student, and he did everything that he could, and he ended up, when he was in college, he fell in love with the perfect girl that he thought was perfect, and she had everything that he could have ever wanted. They ended up breaking up because she started to see how weird he was and started seeing some weird vibes from him, so she ended up leaving him. And later, a lot of his victims were thought to have looked like or resembled the past girlfriend, and the killings usually follow the same gruesome pattern. He usually rapes them and then kills them afterward. The exact number of his kills were never known. There is some debate on when he started killing, but most of the sources say that he began the rampage around the 70s. By this time, he had transformed himself. He became confident. He used to be, when he was younger, he was very shy and closed in, but when he, in the time that he started the murder spree, he ended up being more confident, and that's how he would lure the girls in. He would walk up to them and start talking to them, make them trust him, and then they would end up going with him places. He started off with with women around the Seattle area and in nearby Oregon, where they went missing, and the stories circulated about some of the victims that were seen with him. He would often lure the victims into his car by pretending to be injured and asking for their help. Their kindness proved a fatal mistake. In 1974, he moved to Utah to attend law school, and women began to start disappearing there as well. In 1975, he was actually arrested for kidnapping a girl that actually got away from him, that it got to escape him, and he was convicted and received a 1 to 15 year jail sentence in the case. 2 years later, Bundy was indicted on murder charges in the death of a Colorado woman. He decided to act as his own lawyer in the case, and during the trip in the courthouse library, he jumped out the window and made an escape. And then he moved to Florida. In December of 1977, Bundy escaped from custody again. He climbed out of a hole he made in the ceiling of his cell and dropped more than 30 pounds to fit through a small opening. Authorities did not discover Bundy was missing for 15 hours, giving this serial killer a big head start to the police, and he eventually made his way to Florida. He ended up going to a sorority house in 1978, and he attacked 4 female residents at Florida State University and killing 2 of them. On February 9th, Bundy kidnapped and murdered a 12-year-old girl. These crimes marked up to the end of the murderous rampage, as he soon got pulled over by the police, and then they noticed it was him. In July 1979, he was convicted of the 2 Chi Omega, the sorority that he went into, murders. The most damning evidence came from his own viciousness. The bite marks on one of the bodies was a definite match for Bundy, and he was given the death penalty twice for those crimes. Bundy received another death sentence the following year of a murder of a girl named Kimberly Leach. Bundy fought for his life, spending years appealing death sentence, but when he was on the death sentence and when he was having some kind of interviews and stuff, he didn't ever seem remorseful for the things that he had done and the terrible, terrible things that he had done to these women. Some of the women he would even take into the woods. Like, he would say, "Oh, please help me, I'm injured," into the woods, and like lure them into the woods. He would kill them there, and then for a few days or a few hours until the animals actually started getting them, he would continue to go back to that scene and he would rape these girls post-mortem after they had already died, and he would rape their dead bodies in the in the woods until decomposition became too much. To me, he was one of the most notorious of the 20th century, and I was always very fascinated by the Ted Bundy case, but I think it could have been stopped to begin with, not being lied to when he was so young. I think it could have been stopped if he was put into some sort of counseling or started to look at mental health issues at a young age, like when he started getting interested in knives and when he started killing animals and things like that. And I think it could have been stopped if they had more close watch eye on him when he was originally arrested and originally put into jail, because then he wouldn't have been able to get out if he had more watch on him. Yeah.